Welcome back. Better late than never, but when is it actually time to see a therapist?
Joining us now is marriage and family therapist Shannon Ricks from Modern Eve with her tips. Shannon, I love that we're doing this topic because this is something I've been thinking about recently. I've been in therapy before, taken a break, and there's times where I'm like, oh, should I go back? Do I need a tune-up? Then the feeling passes, and I think, did it really pass? Should I go? How do you know?
I get asked that a lot too, which is why I was like, let's go over this topic today. Here are just some signs that maybe it's time to consider going to therapy, finding a therapist.
Okay, so there are signs. I'm a big proponent of therapy, but I think if you're asking, then maybe it's time to go. I don't know. Your gut, right, tells you.
I agree. Let's be honest. Like, yeah, if you're asking, I mean, why not? What's the harm, right? It's probably time.
Well, these are some good things to ask yourself to see if it's time to schedule that appointment. The first one you say is you'd like an unbiased perspective on your situation.
Totally. Because let's face it, you have friends and you have family who are going to weigh in on your situation, who are going to give you opinions, but those are very biased, right? So to have this neutral third party to reflect on your life, I think is very helpful.
It is, because there's a lot of noise, right? And then you don't know which way to sway, if you need to at all. And then the second tip, you'd like to understand yourself and your behaviors better. Maybe you're confused about why you're acting, why you're thinking this way.
Totally. Why do I do what I do, right? It's having that person reflect back to you what it seems like from their perspective can be just super helpful.
Yeah, because they see things that you are blind to because you're so in the thick of it, right?
We all have blind spots that we totally can't see. And yeah, someone else can see it better than we can.
I like this one. This is what got me thinking, is it time for me to go back, is going through a life transition.
Totally. Transitions are hard. And so this isn't necessarily like, oh, you have like a mental health concern, but like to have someone to move through that transition with, to make sure you're being authentic to yourself and your values through that transition. I mean, there's a lot of emotions going on there.
Well, you want to make sure that you are thinking and doing things in a healthy way. Like after divorce, I knew my kids probably needed help, or I didn't have the tools. So those were a moment in time of, I think I need it, whether I think I need it or not, right? But just to make sure, right, on the litmus test. All right, you're overwhelmed, burnt out, and not motivated at all.
Totally. Those are some emotional signs that it'd be like, it's time, because you don't want to keep feeling like that burnt out, that overwhelmed feeling. Ugh, yeah. You don't want that to last.
I think that's a tricky one too, because sometimes we feel like that at this time of year. It's like January, February, it's cold, holidays are over, and I tend to feel a little more that way, a little more sluggish. But then I think, okay, when spring comes, will I feel different? But I guess if not, that's when you say something's off.
Totally, because yeah, I mean, a week of that, okay, but if this is an ongoing thing, yeah, it's probably time.
Okay, having a hard time regulating your emotions, like you start to spiral maybe?
Totally. You'll start seeing either thought spirals or just emotional spirals, panic attacks or breakdowns. And you're like, why am I doing this? This is so confusing. Yeah, our emotions kind of have a mind of their own sometimes.
Yes, and it can feel very hard to get them in check or keep them right-sized, and that's when we need some help. Okay, what about having trouble functioning in at least one area of life?
Right. And so you'll either notice like at work is harder than usual, or your relationship is harder than usual, school is harder than usual. Things like that are often signs that something's up.
Right, you don't want to keep feeling the way you're currently feeling, right?
Totally.
You just can't get out for some reason. You just need a little boost or another way of thinking.
Well, you've been trying the same thing over and over and over, and we want you to get out of that cycle. So this is a way to break that cycle.
And this ties into your next one. You've already tried everything you could think of on your own. Like we hear, drink water, get outside, exercise, see if you feel better. But if you
still aren't, and you have done all of those things that you like should do,
you feel stuck, right?
Totally.
Maybe it's that feeling. You're coping. Oh, this is a hard one. You're coping in harmful ways.
Right.
When you're turning to different things that may not benefit you.
That's right. You're turning to food to cope. You're sabotaging in your relationships. You're self-harming. Like there's all sorts of things that people do when they get desperate enough for help.
Yeah, and others have expressed concern, so that's a big one.
Totally. If other people have mentioned, hey, maybe you should think about talking to someone, let that be a big, blatant, blaring sign. It's time.
Yeah.
And truly, I mean, we got through all 10 things, but truly, when you look at your life, it's kind of nice to maintain or make sure you're healthy, and talking to someone who's independent to do a self-check-in is always good, right?
I think so. I think so. Like, and I go to my own therapy as a therapist when when I'm going through transitions and when I'm trying to answer questions about things in my subconscious. So yeah, there's no shame in it. Like, we all can use that third party.
Now you have new therapists with immediate openings, so you can get seen right now, and you have a sliding scale pricing.
Right. Finally, we're able to offer that where, yeah, people if it's been a barrier to them getting into therapy because of the price point, we're a little more flexible.
Well, and sometimes a lot of times insurance can cover most of it and the bulk of it. So why not ask a little bit of that? And then truly to have openings these days, I remember the long waiting list that you would have to try to get in.
Yes.
And you have the openings, and you also have yoga, by
And
the way.
it's free, guys. So this is for literally anyone can go. This is yoga for mental health because one of our clinicians is a yoga instructor. And we thought, what better way to like build a better relationship with your body and movement?
Okay, sign up now, get an appointment in there, and you are on the web, on Instagram, TikTok, and email Shannon right now from Modern Eve. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.